Oof. Welcome. Today I'm going to be recreating a suburban song, Freak, with, I believe it's REI AMI, if I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm going to break down how the song is structured, how each part was made, and what instruments are used, and I'll be doing this with mostly free plugins. And yeah, I really love his music, and his songs are super complex, which always makes these types of videos super fun. So as you can see, the song is kind of complex. I mean, it's only like 28 tracks, but there's a lot of moving parts and things. So the first thing I started with is I found a clock ticking sound effect, put a bit of reverb on it, and EQ'd it so it's a little less high end, just kind of an ambient clock. And then I started with the main melody. So I use Serum to create almost all the melodies in this, but as you may know, I don't actually own Serum, so what I do is I use the demo and then I bounce out the audio files. So I'll show you the MIDI for the melody. You have this bass part of the melody and it sounds something like this. Then you have the high part of the melody, which sounds like this. So you basically put those two melodies together. I stem them out into these two audio files here. These are the main two melody files here over top of the clock sounds, and it sounds like this for the intro. The melody in the first verse is slightly different. I chopped up the melody and moved it around so it sounds more like this instead. And yeah, this is on another instrument. I think this one's from Massive. I don't own Massive, so I consolidated the audio or whatever it's called. Then after that part, there's a synth bass line. It sounds like this. Then the first kick drum is introduced. There's a line in the song like, I can't help myself. And so it sweeps into that line, so I put a little sweep here before the actual drop. I can't help myself. And then the song drops, obviously. I took that same melody from the intro with also this backing melodies from the first verse, and I combine all that together. So the first thing I did was the kick pattern, which is very simple. It goes like... And then you add in a snap with a little bit of reverb on it. Also, there's like a chime that comes in at random points. And from this comes the iconic 808 line. You kind of want an 808 that's less mid-toned and more subtoned. There's obviously that iconic ooh na 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 melody, but I didn't feel like doing an ooh na 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 myself, so I tracked it on some violins and a weird synthesizer. I'll show you the notes though. Then I bounced it out onto a violin as well. And together the drop sounds like this. For the second part of the drop, there's like a little hint of other percussion, so I made it with a shaker and some open hats. There's a shaker loop up here, then there's like an open hat and another open hat that hits in the middle of the shaker. And then the song shifts gears, it kind of stops for a second and introduces this new violin melody. So it's basically the kick, the 808, and that violin sound. It alternates between the 808 and then a synth bass playing that same 808 melody. And that just keeps shifting back and forth for like 4 bars. Together with the violin, it sounds like this. So the snaps are taken out of the song, and we go to this marching band style kit. This sound, along with the violins, are part of the free plugins that are used in this song, so I definitely recommend getting Labs if you want to use free violin sounds that sound high quality. So this is the melody that goes on top for this part. It's very quiet, and it's just kind of in the back of the mix to add a little bit of life to the second part. And then it drops, and we go into a new kick pattern. Same snap as before, but we're adding in a trap snare on top of it. Then we introduce a off-timed open hat. And the 808 pattern is basically the same, there's just a few extra notes added on the end. And this is over top of a new violin melody that comes in. I used a pizzicato violin and then a regular violin over top of it. And together that all sounds like this. Then the same thing repeats with the violin melody is cut out, and then there's the ambient bells from earlier in the second verse that come back in. The same beat and everything, same 808. But then there's no violin melody, and then all of a sudden at the end of the verse there is this little violin slide. So for the next part, we go back to the original melody from the introduction. The only thing that's in the mix is the kicks. Besides that, the rest of the beat is gone. The second part is the exact same thing. This time, we bring in some claps. Then the song goes back to the same drop as the first one. Nothing's changed, it's exactly the same. Welcome to our freak show, come meet my monster. Then the bridge, that whole demonic voice thing comes in, and that's pretty much the same as the second part of the second verse, where it's just the kick drum and the original melody. And then it does that same exact thing, but then the claps come in. And then the beat cuts out early, and then the drop comes. Holy fuck! Then the beat cuts out, and then the drop comes in. Same exact drop, but with a different ending this time. The main instruments cut out, except for the 808 and the kick here, and then the 808 even cuts out, and then it's only the snap, and then a riser. Then there's a pitch bend on the 808. So the instruments are cut out on that pitch bend, and then all the percussions of the second part of the drop come back in, and then it's pretty much the same drop besides that little extra detail. And then the song ends the same way as it began. The clock ticking comes back in, and the same eerie introduction melody plays, and then the song ends. So yeah, that's how Freak by Suburban was made. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something. Love his music. Also his music video is super cool. I definitely recommend checking that out. I'll see you next video. Peace.